Right, everyone. Welcome again to another round of roll and stretch. I want to do a little footwork here to start us off with. So you see I don't have the socks or shoes on. If you want to get some footwork in with me, you can get rid of those socks and shoes here today. We're going to try to do a little stretching on the foot, a little rolling on the foot, kind of show you how to work through some of that plantar fasciitis. And I'll show you another option that if you have a tennis ball or a ball laying around, you can use that as well, but some of you may only have the foam roller, so I'll show you that first. So we're gonna work our way through some, last week we did more full body. This week we're going to try to do some more extremities and isolate some areas of soreness, usual soreness. All right, so the foot is the first one. So we can use the foam roller here as a massager, if you will, or a releaser, a myofascial releaser. So what we would do with the foam roller is I like to use the wall up against the wall. You don't have to, but what I do is I actually use the end of the foam roller. This, if I'm using the wall, this kind of prevents it from jumping up as much, but I'm just going to use the edge of the foam roller to kind of go through that arch of the foot. So we're just going to kind of roll it just like this. It doesn't have to be really hard, but if I'm pushing it into the wall too, it is climbing a little bit, but it's not jumping so much like that. All right, so we just kind of push that foam roller into the wall, holding on to the wall, or pushing ourselves into the wall, and we just kind of go into that arch a little bit. Then what we're going to do after we've done that is we're just going to put pressure down, and we're just rolling right on the foam roller, right in the middle of that arch. And don't go too far because it'll kick out on you, right? Excellent. So we're just going right in that arch. Now, what I want to do next is I want to just kind of start to step up on the foam roller. So I'm stepping on the foam roller. I'm creating pressure. You may feel that arch creating pressure. And now what I want you to do is I want you to take your toes and I want you to curl them on that foam roller, and then I want you to open them up. Curl them on that foam roller, open them up. Good. And this doesn't matter if you have a big foam roller, small foam roller, right? Just one foot at a time. Good. And then kind of bring it back down. So you saw I just came up off the toe. I'm still on my other toe. I'm not lifting it off. We don't want to balance on it, but I'm just putting all the pressure on this foot, and then I curl the toe, lift it, curl the toe, lift it. And you can kind of move the foam roller a little bit to find that right spot where you feel it in that good arch. Now, from here, we have the wall, or we can go on the floor. So if you have the wall, I like to put the foot right at the top of the wall, and we feel this in the calf a little bit, but we're also, what we're going to do is we're going to bring the foot, the toes, so that the toes are pressing right against the wall, so that we're getting that arch stretch. So and then I'm coming right into the wall, and we feel that arch stretch. And let me see if I can do it against the foam roller here so you can see a little bit more. You see how the toes are thin, and you can actually see my toes coming up. And we want to try to get them all. May not get that pinky so much, but and you'll feel that little stretch at the top of the foot and maybe into the arch. Good, so we just release that arch. Now we're trying to roll it, and then we take the foot and we just pull it back, and we just dip a little bit into it so that we feed. So if I'm here, and then I'm just going to dip a little into that knee so I feel it coming up that tibialis, front of the foot. We got to make sure both sides are doing all right. And go ahead and go back to this stretch. I want to show you, if you have a ball, it is a little bit more effective in specifics, because with the ball, what I can do is I can roll the ball around in specific areas. So I'm using a lacrosse ball. It's a little bit thicker, a little bit heavier rubber. You can also use a tennis ball. Go ahead and switch that stretch now, right here. And the ball is just going to give you more specificity, if you will, when you're rolling. You'll get a little bit more locked in, but you don't have to go out. The foam roller can get it done. So we're on this stretch. All right, let's go to the other side now. Let's see if we can get that foot on the other side done. Now, in this case, I'm going to use the ball so I'm not facing the back. But what you're doing, if you have the ball, you're just rolling it through that arch, right? You're rolling through that arch, just like we did here. And you just want to make sure you're really getting on that arch. Tennis ball is fine, a baseball is fine. you don't have a ball, you can be using the foam roller. All right. And the ball, I'm not going to so much, because this is a hard ball, so I'm not going to do that compression. I'm going to do the compression on the foam roller because that ball is pretty hard. If you have a tennis ball, it does work pretty well. And all we're going to do is come up on that compression. Good, toes still on the ground. Good, and now open the toes, close the toes, open them, close. So we're compressing, or we're pressing on the plantar flexure. Good. And then we're making the tendons work. Good. We're wearing them out a little bit. And back down. Good. We're going to do this twice. So I like to also get a little bit in the back of the arch for a couple. And you can remember, you can kind of move your foot around a little bit to find that best spot. Open, close, open, close. Last one, close. Excellent. Let's go ahead and rotate that foam roller. We're going to get that toe stretch. So we're just pushing that toe into it so that we feel it stretching under here. You can do it right against the wall if you need to. Good, good. 3, 2, 1. And now remember, we rotate it the other way and then just drop in a little bit so that we feel it on the front side of the shin. 3, 2, and 1. Let's go ahead and come back now to this one. Good, good, good. 3, 2, 1, and last stretch on this side. Well, feeling those feet should feel a little bit better. 3, 2, and 1. Remember with the feet, we want to try to keep all of them loose. So always moving those feet, always stretching both sides, really help that foot out. All right, let's go ahead and climb the ladder. I know we did a little bit of the glutes before, but I always like to focus on the glutes and hips. So let's take a quick roll on the glutes here. So when we're doing the glutes, remember we start with that straight leg option, just like this, trying to roll, find any of those sore spots in the glutes. Taking like 5 or 6 rolls. Then what I want you to do is, if you can, you're going to cross this leg and you're going to work your way to the side of the glute, almost side of the hip, if you will. You may feel that little knot in the glute area. This would be us isolating the piriformis. If you can't bend the leg, you can have it down here and hold on to the knee. You still be isolated. And then let's go ahead and switch it up. Other side, same thing. Straight leg first. Good, good. And then let's go ahead and isolate that piriformis. Get on the side of those hips. Good, 3, 2, anywhere between 5 to 10 rolls, right? And 1. Very, very good. All I like to do here, this is kind of my finisher here. I like to just roll the knees. I roll the whole body over so that we hit this side of this glute here. That's usually our tender spots. That's that glute medius. Oh yeah, very good. All right. So we've done this one in the past as well, but we're going to work on that hip flexor. So remember, I'm gonna straddle it. And if I want to work on my right one, I want it to be pointed towards my right shoulder on an angle so that I'm straddling this angle. It's kind of kicking under my left leg. I'm walking right over it, laying it right down on that. And then from there, just small rolls in that hip flexor. So it should just fit right in that pocket for you. Good, and like 5 or 10 rolls, and then let it sit on there. 5, 4, 3, 2, one. Let's do 5 more rolls. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Excellent. And then all you have to do is turn it, tuck it under this leg, hover, and here we are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And let's just let it sit for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh, 5 more. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Excellent, excellent job. Let's come up. We just rolled those hip flexors. Let's go ahead and stretch them out. So we can go from the knees, or you can go from a standing, holding on to a chair or the wall. If we're going from the knees, we're just like this. This foot, foot is in front of the knee. All we're going to do is try to make that foot reach the knee, and then we're going to lift the same side up in the air for that extended stretch, just like this, right? Now, if you're doing this from the air, right, you're just holding on to something. Same thing, trying to drop that hip into the ground. Feel that good pull right here. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's go ahead and switch sides. In here. Remember, foot in front of the knee, and then bring it to the knee. You can lift if you need to, or you can just kind of hold at that hip. If you like, you can go to that standing version, right? Good, really focusing on those hip flexor stretches. Feels so good to get those hip flexors opened up. 3, 2, and 1. Very good. Now, we've done the glute stretch with the chair, where we're standing on a chair. I'm just going to go ahead and do the lying version today. And so all we're going to do is lay down on the back. And what we want to do is we want to bring the foot to the knee first. And then all we're going to do is take this hand, put the pressure on the knee so that we're opening up the hip first. This is we were stretching before, a little hip flexor psoas. This one's really pulling on that psoas muscle first, just to get it opened up. And then we're going to get into the glute stretch, where we take the hands on the knee, we pull it right across, so we're pulling it to that right shoulder. Good. Sometimes you can even hold here and straighten the leg. You'll feel a little bit more, but you don't have to. You can keep those knees bent. You just feel that good stretch coming through here. You can even open up, so another way to increase that stretch. Put this left arm down and then pull to the right so that your head stays looking at your left arm, but you're pulling your hips off the ground a little bit. Just feel that extended stretch. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Great job. Let's go ahead and come up here, push in. 4, 3, 2, and 1. We're going to go ahead and pull across, reaching across. Good stretch. Really feel that. And if you need to, like I said, pull a little bit more, but keep your hand planted on the ground. Feel that good stretch coming through the glutes. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release them both there. Very, very good. So let's go into the upper back, and then we'll do a little arm, and then do a couple stretches to finish us up today. So the upper back, just always got to get my mid to upper back rolling. So remember, we start mid back here. You can have the hands here if you need to, but you're going to lay it back a little bit. So you'll arch the back just slightly, and then all you're going to do is bridge off. So you're just going to lift the butt up, and now you're all the way on the foam roller. And once you're all the way on the foam roller, now we can roll it out. So we're only going to do 10 here. So we go base of the neck, all the way to the back. 4 more here. Remember, you can walk it if you need to. 1, and we're just going to do 3 on the side. So left side, lift it out. 1, 2, 3, then rotate. Right side the next. 1, 2, and 3. Excellent, excellent job on those. Let's now take a look at the forearm. So forearm is something we want to work on, right? We want to keep focusing on the forearm. Now, this is one where you can take the foam roller, put it on an elevated surface if you need to get a little bit more depth to that push. But the other thing you can do is put the foam roller on the edge like this, and we're just going to come down into almost a little bit of a child's pose, and we're just going to push, and we're going to keep rotating the hand as we push forward, underneath. You can even keep the thumb up, and then hand down, thumb up again, and back. Good. We're just rolling on that forearm. And the lower you get, the more pressure you can get on that forearm. You can even add your hand when you're like this to add a little bit more pressure. Good. Here's the fun part. You notice we didn't really get in here. What you can do on this one is actually do the opposite, right? So now the foam roller's on top of my hand. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to push that foam roller over. So the foam roller is still rolling over my hand. I'm applying the pressure now. And I can use my forearm to really add pressure in the spots I need to, right? I can just say, oh, that's a tight spot. So I'm going to add that pressure there. This is how we kind of get that inner forearm. Let's go ahead and shift to the other side. Give this a go. If you elevate the surface, if you have a smaller foam roller, you can get a little bit more pressure. But again, if you just get a little lower or apply your pressure with your hand, you can kind of do it yourself. Good. Foam roller still works really well for this. Let's get next. And don't be afraid to lift the fingers up, put them down, move them all around. Good. All right, let's switch it. Let's get that forearm now. A flat hand. And we're just rolling it right over it, just like that. Good. Sometimes you got to shift your position so you're not twisting your whole body, but this is a good one for me. Found a spot right here, so now I'm going to just push down on that. And you can bring the foam roller to here. It may be a little bit easier to control, right? Even though it's on an angle, you're trying to get that. Sensors. Good, good roll here. And let's release there. Now for the forearm stretch, we're going to put our hands flat, and then we're just going to lean forward, and I'll show you that from this angle. We're just going to lean forward so that we get that good stretch in the wrist. This is also good for the wrist. Giving them a good stretch. 3, 2, 1, and then we're going to take our hands. We're going to rotate them the other way best we can, and then kind of sit back and stretching out these. If you don't like putting that pressure, you can always do the handheld version. Now we just do these, feel that good stretch. Two and one, shake that out. Let's go ahead and we can come standing. We're just going to get that mid back that we rolled earlier. So just cross them together and just reaching as far as we can. We're not trying to touch the toes here. We're almost just letting it hang. We're hip hinging. So that means instead of squatting, we're hip hinging at the hip. Reaching as low as we can. Just a little reach to the left. Reach to the right. Good. Now unclasp the hands. Now we're reaching to the back of the ankles, not the toes, because we're actually trying to pull the chest into the thighs, get that hamstring a little bit, but I'm really trying to open up that back. 3, 2, and 1. All right, great job. We did a little bit more isolation on specific muscle groups today, right? We did the feet, the glutes, and upper back and arms. Join me next time. We'll continue to roll the body, stretch the body, make you feel a little bit better for the day. Thanks so much for joining me for a little stretch and roll. I'll see you all next time.
Thank you.